Good morning. Good morning. And wow, I'm so excited to be back with you for Coffee and Conversations in Education. I shifted the name as I'm also shifting a lot of the language in my website. That's forthcoming, one project at a time. But the message behind that is that it's not about special education, it's about education for all and meeting the needs of all diverse learners. And that's not doing something special, that's creating access. And equal access is what each of our students are entitled to. That said, today's first topic is looking at how to have a great, fresh, positive start to the school year, whether you're at the same school, a new school. Some of you are going to have starts that occur in the middle of the school year because you're in that process of looking to move somewhere else this school year. So hopefully this talk will be in some way, shape, and form applicable to anyone that's listening, no matter where you are. I know that the first step to a positive start, and what can be very difficult for parents and educators alike, is leaving the baggage from the last school year behind and moving forward with positive energy and a presumption of competence. When we presume competence, we presume that all students are capable of learning, that they're capable of acquiring knowledge and retaining information and contributing ultimately in society. We don't think that any child sitting in our classroom, that any student is not worth the effort or isn't going to go anywhere with what we're doing, or teaching them or instructing them on a certain topic is pointless because they wouldn't be able to grasp it anyways. We have to clear our slate of that thinking as educators, as parents, as advocates, because the least dangerous assumption, as we say in education, is the presumption of competence. There's never going to be any negative impact to a student if we presume that they can learn and we deliver them instruction that's meaningful to them. And so teachers, educators, that's why some educators will say to parents, don't tell me anything about him from last school year, to the educator before. Don't tell me what he did wrong, or I don't want to know his discipline records from last school year. And on one end, that's a little alarming because you would want an educator to want to know about a student's history so that they can better help him or her. But the other piece of that is not wanting to go in with preconceived notions or ideas about a student based upon how he performed with another teacher or in another environment or in the home environment. And so it's kind of a balance would be ideal, right? But coming back to that theme, we want to presume competence, not just in our students, but also in our educators. I know a lot of parents are coming from the perspective that their school stinks, their school can't do anything right, the school doesn't know how to implement IEPs, the teachers don't care at that school. I certainly am not here to invalidate your perspective. I'm not here to say that that's not the case. However, I want you to understand that if you're still at that school, you're choosing to stay at that school for this time at least, you want to give that new teacher a new shot and a new chance. You don't want to carry that baggage from last school year or even from things that you've heard from other parents about that teacher. You need to have an expectation that the teacher presumes competence with your child, and also that you presume competence for him or her, that she or he is capable of teaching, capable of delivering quality instruction, capable of caring and having a big heart, which is what drives most teachers into the field. I recommend that all parents that have children that are receiving services through an IEP or accommodations through a Section 504 plan, or that we suspect needs any number, one of the two, we're not sure. They either need accommodations to some level or specialized instruction, and we're in the process of evaluating. Always, always, always introduce yourself and your child early on into the school year to the team. Make sure that you have the updated list of who those team members are, because in school sites and even at the district level, these positions are ever changing, right? It's not always the same set of members. So at the end of your introductory email, make sure to ask them to please update you on any new members or anybody else that should be included or will be part of the implementation of your child's IEP. You can also do what a lot of my clients have done, which is create a visually appealing and content, a simple content, but meaningful content, and about me, about your child, right? This is my child's strengths. These are my child's interests. These are the areas of weakness that you're going to see most pronounced in the classroom. This is how you can help my child. Now, this about me is not intended to be a 10-paragraph essay, right? It's intended to really be a helper to the teacher, to give them a great snapshot. This is awesome, Mike. This is awesome, Melina. This is my child. This is all that she is. You can never sum her up to paper. You can never sum him up to this document, but this gives you a really good impression of who's coming into your classroom, what their needs are, but also what they can offer, right? What they can offer other students. Melina is an excellent artist. She understands how to put PowerPoint presentations together. She's even started to do some visual representations of her artwork on a computer. Share that, share that, share that. That could be the self-esteem boost that your child needs, where her reading or math skills may be lacking, that artistic talent that she has is overlooked. We don't want talents and strengths of our students to be overlooked. And so what I can also do, I have a client that created an incredible about me, about her son, that's been so transparent and forthcoming and welcoming and helping. I'm going to post a PDF version of it with her permission. She has allowed me to date to send it via email, but if she gives permission, I'll put it in my online IEP advocate group. So if you're not there, go ahead and join. I'll accept you as long as you're a parent, an educator, an administrator, or anybody involved in the implementation of educational plans in the school system that has a vested interest. I would love for you to be there learning with us and asking questions. Another thing that I know, this sounds like a no-brainer obvious, everybody in the school should know that your child has the IEP or 504 plan. They should know it backwards and forwards. They should have memorized every line. I get it. That should have been done over the summer. I get it. But let's make sure that everybody working with your child, let's confirm that they know that your child is a student that receives exceptional education services and requires the following reasonable accommodations and has an IEP in place. Let's confirm that they've reviewed the IEP. Let's confirm that services have started already. I was just in a meeting the other day where I came to find out that the student has not received the first few weeks of language services because they don't have a language therapist at the school. So we had a discussion about it. They just hired. That person is in training next week. Services will start the week after. Are we jumping for joy about it? Are we so happy that the child didn't hit the ground running with services? Absolutely not. But we had a honest discussion. We now know that the services will in fact start next week. And we know how the comp ed will be given. The services will be made up after school at a mutually agreeable time. At this point, it's 5 sessions and counting that need to be made up. It's all out there, right? If you're getting a real difficult time getting educators to confirm for you that they're working with the IEP and how your child's doing and reviewing that progress with you or responding to your emails, it might be prudent for you to do what's called a review IEP team meeting. There's no legal term for that. There's no official term for that. That's just what I call it. It's where we're meeting to review and have discussions about the IEP. We're not actually making any changes to the IEP if we believe that the IEP that we're meeting about is already appropriate. It's just that we don't know how it's being implemented in the school site and we want to have those discussions. That can be done with the whole team that works with your child. Obviously, you're going to have to initiate that request, explain the request if they're not familiar with that term, find a date and a time on the calendar that works for everybody that will be involved. That's a great time for you to not only review the IEP, but thank the teachers that are sitting there, thank them for any information that they share with you on that day, build an initial positive rapport, and make sure that they know any updates that they need to know about your child. If the IEP itself that you're starting the school year with is not appropriate, if you disagree with it, if you're carrying over requests that were made last school year, you want to make sure that that request for that evaluation doesn't just get pushed under the dust or forgotten about. you want to send an email. You can have an introductory email about your child, paragraph at the top, paragraph at the bottom, that goes over what those requests were that were made last school year. For instance, last school year on May 7th, a request was made by me via email to the following team members for my son to be comprehensively evaluated. And subsequently, on June 2nd, I signed consent. I understand that you have a 60 or 45, depending on your state, day period to conduct these evaluations. I know that you're in the middle of that period. Should you need anything from me, please let me know. Once the report's ready, I'd love a copy of it so I could review it before our meeting. This is a great thing to do, right? This is a great thing to do. So we get everybody on the same page so that we ensure that the work that we did last school year carries into the next school year. And we also have the chance to say anything else that we might have a concern about or a compliment of. It's not just concerns. You can include compliments or nice things in these emails. Let me see, anything else that I wanted to tell you? Oh, so if you have teachers that are struggling with your child or other children in the classroom, but we really specifically focus on your child in this, you want to request help from the district. Get that teacher help. Are they having a hard time obtaining curriculum? Are they having a hard time implementing the behavior intervention plan? Do they maybe not understand components of it? This doesn't mean that they're a bad teacher. Helping them get help, even if they're resistant to it at first, I've found it to be an excellent, excellent thing. I've had so many teachers that have come, said, thank you. I felt a little bit nervous about you initiating that, but that help in my classroom, that training that I received has been life-changing for me as an educator. It's not only helped your child, it's helped other children. I let the ego down. I got that extra help that I needed. My classroom is easier. Another thing that you can do, and I know that many of us are working parents, we're super busy, we're in the daily grind, but if you have any time or space to have that reciprocal relationship with your school, where you can volunteer some of your time, become a registered volunteer with your school. You don't need to go every week. You don't have to be at every PTA meeting. You can work it within your calendar and schedule. If you can never physically be there during the day, there are still ways that you can give back, even if it's just virtually. Even if it's just participating in some school-wide initiative where you drop something off early in the morning. Show the school that this is a reciprocal relationship, that you're a member of this community, and that you expect them, right, to provide what their duties are to provide to your child, and that you also are there for them in the ways that you might be able to volunteer your time. If you can't volunteer money, volunteer your time. If you can't volunteer your time, that's okay too. You can volunteer some suggestions. You can give some resources. There's always some way to participate in our community. And so those are my closing words to you. We want to maintain collaborative relationships with school staff, but never at the expense of a child getting what they need, right? And so even when parents that I work with file a request for due process hearing, we don't need to be screaming and cussing teachers out or telling them how horrible they are. We can make our point and we can hold them accountable while still maintaining professionalism and respect, because we need to realize that the majority of teachers go in this field with their heart in the right place, right? They just might not have the skill set, the training, the support from their school district. They might not even know how to find the information. And so we need to work with our school team to get teachers competent to be able to provide what our children are entitled to. And I know that that's the district's responsibility. I'm the first person that's always saying that. I get it. It's the school district's responsibility to make sure that those teachers are ready to deliver that IEP and to provide those accommodations. But if we can, through our advocacy efforts, help expedite that process, or if we can help point them in the right direction where you have a teacher that's motivated to help, why not? It's only to the benefit of your child and other children. Thank you for joining me this morning. I hope that some of this content has been helpful to you. If it has, throw me a comment, throw me a share. please, please, please make sure that you follow the page because I'll be posting a lot of great information as we go into the school year. Have a wonderful rest of the day.